students, we will see the role of Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. Now, studying about Prime Minister, we see that Prime Minister is a real head of the state. Already we have studied that the President is the head of the state, but real powers lies in the hand of Prime Minister. As per the Constitution, the powers are in the hand of the President, but actual powers are in the hand of the Prime Minister. Prime Minister is the head of the Council of Ministers. He and his Council of Ministers are collectively responsible to the Parliament. Means, when party wins with majority votes, that political party select Prime Minister and Council of Ministers from among themselves, and the government is formed. Whatever policies are formed by this government, the Prime Minister along with the Council of Ministers are responsible, and they are answerable for the members of Parliament. In case the members of Parliament passes vote of no confidence, the Prime Minister along with the Council of Ministers has to resign. Now we'll see who are the Council of Ministers. The Council of Ministers are basically comprises of the Cabinet Ministers, Ministers of States and Deputy Ministers. The Cabinet Ministers are very important ministers. The Council of Ministers, they have to be very responsible people, and they have to be very trustworthy for the Prime Minister, because if they do any mistake, the entire Council of Ministers along with Prime Minister has to suffer. They might have to resign. Each of them should be trustworthy and they have to perform their duty sincerely for the betterment of the country. They cannot do against the public or do something which will go against the public, because the government can face problem due to this. Now we will see who are the Cabinet Ministers. We see all important departments like finance, defense, railway, communication, transport, all those important departments that looks after the development of the country. Each department is appointed a head. The head of these departments is known as Cabinet Ministers. Each department has a minister. For example, Defense Minister is Rajnath Singh. Then Home Minister is Amit Shah, etc. So, these are the important departments, and the head of these departments are known as the Cabinet Ministers. These Cabinet Ministers are allotted by the Prime Minister. Cabinet Ministers take all the important decisions. The ministers of the state and deputy ministers follows the decisions made by the cabinet. So, the cabinet comprises of ministers who are very important, close to the Prime Minister and very much trustworthy. Along with the ministers and the Prime Minister are responsible for the administration of the country. Now, all the ministers of council, that is the Council of Ministers that we are talking about, the Cabinet Ministers, the Ministers of States and Deputy Ministers, they all have to be members of the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha. But if a person who is not a member of the Lok Sabha can also be appointed as a minister by the Prime Minister. This can happen, that is, he has to obtain membership of the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha within 6 months of the date of appointment. If Prime Minister appoints you as a Council of Minister, you have to be member of the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha. If not, within 6 months, you have to obtain membership of the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha. If you fail to do so, then you can lose your ministership. Now students, we will see the functions of the Prime Minister. The first one, selection of the Council of Ministers. The Prime Minister choose the Council of Ministers and the President appoint them as per the advice of the Prime Minister. While selecting the Council of Ministers, the Prime Minister give priority to trustworthy colleagues which have administrative experience, governance skills, efficiency, subjects experts, etc. These are the condition or criteria on which Council of Ministers are chosen. Now see the second one. Allotment of departments to the Council of Ministers means after selecting the Council of Ministers by the Prime Minister, these ministers are allotted a particular departments. For example, finance, defense, railway, etc. Third one, the Prime Minister leads the Council of Ministers. Means he does the leadership of these ministers. He becomes the chairperson of the meetings of the Council of Ministers to lead, guide them and together take decisions on the policies for the progress of the country. Now fourth one, maintain coordination and supervise the working of these departments. Means after allotting departments to each ministers, the Prime Minister has to maintain coordination in the working of various departments. He has to supervise the working of these departments in order to maintain efficiency. Now we'll move to the fifth point, that is achieving a favorable opinion globally. Students, even Prime Minister has various other responsibilities like maintaining good relations with other countries, raising the name of country at international level, developing trust among people, and providing strong support to the countries who are victims of any disasters, etc. Means if any country like Nepal or Sri Lanka faces problem due to some disaster, our country provide help to them which help to maintain good foreign relations. Now students, we will see the functions of the Council of Ministers. Now first one, the process of law making. In a parliamentary form of government, the Council of Ministers take part in process of making law. And this we have studied in the last chapter. Laws on different schemes, policy plans, etc. are drafted and discussed in the House. But before putting proposal in the House, these Council of Ministers along with the Prime Minister, they discuss on the important points on the bill before making a final decision. Now see the second one. The Parliament needs to be taken into confidence about the policy decisions taken by the government. Now students, last year we have studied about the various subjects like education, agriculture, industry, health, foreign relations, etc. The Council of Ministers has to decide specific policies on these various subjects. Before implementing these policies, the Council of Ministers has to discuss about the policies in the Parliament for the approval of the Parliament. Third one, the implementation of policy. Once policies are approved and passed by the Parliament, the important responsibility lies to Council of Ministers is to implement the policies. Now students, we will see how does the Parliament keep a check over the Council of Ministers. In a parliamentary system of government, the legislature tries to keep a control over the executive, that is the Council of Ministers and the Prime Minister. Means working of the government. Some few ways are used to control. They are, first one is a discussions and debates. Discussions and debates are the important part of the law making process. These debates and discussions helps to think on positive and negative points of the policies, which helps for the creation of perfect and beneficial laws for the progress of the country. Then the second one is a question hour. During parliamentary sessions, the proceedings of the House begins with questions asked by the members to the Council of Ministers, and these ministers have to give satisfactory answers. Question hour is one of the most effective ways of keeping a check over the Council of Ministers. Then third one is a 0 hour. During the parliamentary sessions, the period around 12 noon is called 0 hour. During this period, any question of public importance can be raised and discussed. And third one is a no confidence motion. This is the one of the most effective ways to keep a check on the Council of Ministers. The government stays in power till it enjoys the support of majority in Lok Sabha. If the members of Parliament withdraw the support, it may lead to loss of majority and the government cannot stay in power. The members of the House can move a no confidence motion. If the motion is passed with majority support, the Council of Ministers along with the Prime Minister has to resign. Students, by this we have completed this chapter. Thank you students. Have a nice day. God bless you.